Shouldn't have left without my sock guards. Snails in my boots. Yuck, slimy things. Okay, so this will be a bit of a big update video. I've taken some footage over the last couple of weeks, but just not had the time to edit it and upload it. So I'll just sort of piece all those bits and pieces together. Right here I'm standing in the spud paddock. Over here we've got the my spuds, which haven't really been featured in my videos so much. So if you remember a few videos ago, I said that it was my last year with spuds, so I won't be growing them commercially again. Don't see that very often. It's an F truck right here. Back on topic. Yeah, so this will be my last year with commercial spuds, and I should be harvesting these towards the end of the week, probably from Thursday onwards, so should have them out by the weekend, so which will be good. So they're a nice profitable crop, you know, within that year, but for me the damage that they're causing to the soil and the pressure it puts on cash flow is primarily the damage to the soil and the ecology of the farm. Is, yeah, well, I'm giving that away and focusing on other things. Obviously it's harvested. Came out in pretty good weather. Wasn't too wet. So very happy with the yield, the best yield I've had so far. Thought I'd just show you the information on the loads that came out of my paddock. You might find it interesting. So this is what I see when I log into Simplot Australia. That's who I've contracted the spuds to. So basically what we've got here is Lorry Pastoral. That's the contractor that I use and drive for. These are the 9 loads that came out of the paddock. Date, the docket number, date they went in, the variety, and here we have reject plus dirt. So that's the percentage of each load that was rejected. These are very high figures, quite disappointing. Usually we see reject from sort of 1 to 5%. Like these ones here are more typical. But we had a lot of green and a lot of hollow potatoes, so that's just part of the course. So here we see they're rejected because they're green, hollow, hollow, green, green, green. There's some sheds they went into, the pay weight of each load, so that's the gross minus the rejected percentage. The net weight and then the pay weight. The SG value, which is specific gravity, so they do that test on the potatoes to see how much, what the density of them is. Something that's they basically don't like anything below 1.078, so we've sort of just slipped in with those. The size, that'll dock you if there's too many smalls, and then the bruise free factor. You also get docked if you're below a certain bruise free threshold. So just thought that might be of interest to you. So we had the gross tonnes there of 227 tonnes divided by 3.3 hectares we had, so that's 68 tonne per hectare, which is pretty good. My past average has been around the 60, so it's a lot better. yeah, so that's that. So I ploughed this paddock. It's ploughed up pretty nicely. We had about 16 mil of rain since Thursday night, so it's pretty damp now. So hopefully this will dry out soon. I can get my cover crop planted. Pretty much all the next week. This coming week's looking pretty wet, so I'm not sure when that'll happen. Hopefully soon. Yeah, so that's this paddock. I'll be putting this paddock into a mixture of cereal rye, peas, radish and clover, red clover. Might throw a couple other things in there if I want to think of it. Yeah, so that'll go in here and it'll be strip grazed once it's got to the right point down the track. So that's this paddock. I will move across to the next one and we'll have a look. Right, so I'm up here in the multi-species grazing cover crop. This is behind the wheat. If you look down in here, you'll see some of the wheat stubble still. We've got our oats, tillage radish. They're really getting some size on them now. Here's one I'll pull out. It's a pretty good size radish. We'll have a look at the hole she's left behind. It's going to help a lot with compaction and water infiltration. And then the cattle can pull them out and eat the top off if they can't pull them out. And anything they don't eat will just rot down in the ground and put all these nutrients this tuber has scavenged back into the soil in a real concentrated area. And then the crop that I drill into this following this cover crop will be able to utilise those nutrients. We've got our radish, we've got I saw some here, turnip. There's our turnip. It's got a few slugs on it. Peas. You better see the peas starting to flower now. Should be able to see some clover in here as well. There's some clover. Clover's taken a long time to sort of get going. But, probably not far away from thinking about grazing it, I'm not sure. Really I'd like it to get a fair bit higher and for the radish to fill out a bit more and sort of get towards maturity. So I'll have to do a bit of research and see when I should start thinking about feeding it off. Yeah, looking up the tram line here. It's like a salad bar. Bit of turnip. That box shower. Pea leaf. Yeah, that's good. Cows are going to love this. So I've been running the calves in this gully paddock. So I'm going to move them down to the bottom part. So I just need to pull this fence down I've got up here and move that down below them. And then let them through. Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! All these blackberries will be slashed, and then I'm going to pick up a weed wiper, and once the blackberries grow back up in the spring, up ahead of the grass, I'll weed wipe them with salt. Hopefully we'll see how that goes, see what sort of control we can get with that. I need 2 hands now to wind this up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Sometimes they run straight past into the paddock, but sometimes they just want to eat. Right. Go over and have a quick look at the lucerne. Oh, the sun's come out now, it's hot. Here's this spring planted lucerne. So it's not growing a great deal now, it's cooled down. But see some variation within the lucerne cultivar, it seems, because we've got these plants here. It's rather dark stem, very upright, they're growing up nicely. You can look out across here and you see them everywhere. And then you've got these other ones that are very low and yeah, like a lot smaller leaf. I doubt it's nutritional. Just seems to be a very stark difference. So I'm guessing there was a bit of variation in the seed, because there's the winter, I can't remember which way around it is, but one of the lucines are very low growing. Yeah, the summer active hay variety is very low growing, and that's beneficial to haymaking because you're not cutting off the crown, whereas the winter active better suited to grazing, more upright. Let's have a look. Yeah, can't really tell the difference in the crown there. Not sure, I might just be talking out of my top of my head, but that seems to be what's going on. There's a bit of difference in the cultivar. And you can see obviously a lot of clover here growing as well. Larger light green leaves. A few potatoes growing up. But it's pretty weed free. I'm quite pleased with that. So I still haven't managed to get the oats and radish drilled into it. I was hoping to do a few weeks ago, but just it's been that flat out with spud digging. Wherever it's fine, I'm digging spuds, and that's 14 hours a day or whatever, and doesn't leave a lot of time to get other things done. By the time, still got other things to do, and this sort of doesn't get done. But it's surprisingly well structured there. I probably could drive over here and drill it, but I would like it to dry out a bit more. So next week's wet. It might dry out a bit the week after and give me a chance to get it drilled. I want to do it before it gets too late and cold. If you have a look here, it's a lot of worm cast, so that's really good. See heaps of it all over the surface, so that's nice. And I'll be curious to know what the difference here is, because you can see a lot of them here. No worm cast here whatsoever. I'm curious to know if that's what's causing the worms to favour this area rather than like patches like that. Interesting. There's a lot to learn yet, and I'm trying to learn as much about the natural, biological way of doing things, and the way nature works if it's unhindered. So that's this paddock for now. Once the cattle eat this section off, another week I suppose, I'll take them up and start grazing one of my other lucerne paddocks. I'll take you up and show you that now. My plan is to strip graze everything I can so that they're only on there for a day or 2 days at the most, to make the most use of the ground and to make the most use of the feed, and to prevent overgrazing it. So just got to eat it and let it start regrowing. This gully here I'm not, just because it's difficult to strip graze because there's only limited water, and without putting a trough in there, shifting a trough, and also just to the nature of the gully, it's tricky to strip graze all the time, so just grazing that in blocks. Yeah, so I'll take you up and show you that other lucerne paddock. Here I am in this other lucerne paddock. I can't remember what stage I filmed it last. I think it was just after making hay on it. So it's grown up quite nicely. It's a bit past its prime. Probably should have grazed it a couple of weeks ago. But that's okay. We'll strip graze this. We've got water here at the back end of this old orchard. So yeah, I can take a trough around here, I'll just strip graze it down that way and around the corner and back down the other side. So that'll work quite well. We'll be able to strip graze it and not have to have the little trailer and tank in the paddock. So let's have a trough that I'll shift around. We have a look down under here. There's no aphids about. A bit cold from, I reckon. But just look at all that worm cast. There's so much of it. Just look at it all. That is really nice to see. That's just all worm cast. Just covering the ground everywhere. A few slugs under there. But, we'll graze this off and that'll freshen it up and it'll grow away again. This is a Sardi 7, so it's quite a winter active variety, so I imagine hope this will grow pretty well through winter. I was going to oversow this with radish as well, but I didn't get it done straight after the last cut, and by the time I was able to, it had regrown quite a bit, and I didn't want to damage the crowns. I probably should have just drilled it, but I didn't. So this will just stay straight loosen over winter, or just loosen this year, and I'll cut my hay for the horse customers off this paddock. Probably the first cut will be off this paddock, and yeah, and then I might go around and put radish in it next autumn. Just want to be careful that whatever I put in it will be able to be taken out with grazing, like the radish. As long as I don't let it set seed, the cattle grazing it will take it out, and then the lucerne will be clean still. I'm a bit reluctant to put oats in the paddocks I want to make hay on, because the oats will persist, you know, they won't just die with the first grazing. So I don't want to. My customers want straight lucerne hay; they don't want lucerne and oats. So I just don't want to end up not being able to get the oats out of there without using a herbicide, because I'm trying to do everything without using herbicides. I mean, if I were happy to use herbicides, it would be easy enough just to spray the grass weeds out of it, and away I'd go. So just trying to think about that a bit. The other thing is to put a very weak annual rye or something and just not let it go to seed. That could work, because that'll die out in a season. So yeah. But anyway, that's that. It's looking pretty nice. So go up and look at some of the other paddocks. Right, so here we are in the ex-oat paddock. This is a cover crop for grazing, and then ultimately as a to be destroyed with rolling, and to drill a crop through it in. I was planning it to be in spring, but I might do an autumn crop instead. The plan was to just let this grow up, kill it with a crimper roller, and drill a spring crop into it. But with the amount of material here, and a few other things, I'm just thinking I'll graze this over winter and over spring and summer, and then take the cow, stop grazing it in time to let it regrow. Might have to water it a couple times to get it to regrow up to a point and to a maturity level where I can crimp roll it and drill an autumn crop into it. That's I think that's what I'll do now. Let's take a bit of a look at it. We've got our faba beans, so they look absolutely beautiful. Try one of them. Yum. So they're starting to flower there. They look really healthy, most of them. There's some, where did I see one before? And this one here, she's a bit sad looking. But that looks pretty healthy. We've got our turnips, our oats obviously, which is most of what you can see. We'll just go walking in here a bit. There's a lot more oats than I was hoping, because I didn't actually sow the oats. The oats were regrowth. They're Staya oats, and they're a perennial oat. And so a lot of that was regrowth, and also a little bit of self-seeding from that fell out of the hay. So there's a lot more than I was wanting. Got some vetch there. And I think the oats have smothered most of the rest of the stuff out, which is very unfortunate. Simply because I did want some variety, and I also wanted, spent a lot of money on this other stuff. It's been kind of smothered out, but it's a big learning curve. These things I'm going to learn, so let's walk up in here a bit. It grew right up, and then it's lodged and fallen over, something shocking. So I really need to get this grazed off before she all dies on us. It's not real pretty. Yeah, can't see much of the other things I've planted. We've got beans, vetch, turnip. There should be clover in here as well, red clover, crimson clover. Can't see much of that. Looks like they got frosted here a bit. We had a fairly heavy frost the other day. Imagine because they were lying down, they got a lot of frost dew and then frost on it, which is why it's frosted so badly. Wouldn't usually frost badly in this area. So this is all wallaby trampling and eating here. We've got a huge wallaby problem. You come out and shoot 100 a night and they'd probably still keep coming. So I'm seriously considering wallaby fencing the property. Put a wallaby fence around the perimeter. Get the dog shooters in to clean up all the wallaby in the gullies that are within the property, and then hopefully we could keep them out. And I probably need to hire an excavator for a week and clean out the gullies and clear it out so that they didn't have a habitat until we got rid of them all. So yeah, this needs to be grazed ASAP. Probably thinking you got a lot of material to graze off and you only got 9 animals. Well, you're right. I'll talk to the stock agent on Monday and hopefully get another 20 or 30 animals. And that'll get 30 or 40, and that'll should be about the right number to graze all this off over winter, because I've got this paddock here which needs eating now. We've got the loosened paddock up there that needs eating now. And then we've got the cover crop way over there, which you should just be able to see up there somewhere. It's going to need grazing probably another month or 2. So, and we've got that loosened paddock over there, which we'll go over to shortly, and that's going to need grazing in probably another, probably a couple months. So, because it's got the radish in it, I don't want to graze it off until the radish has formed its task. When its tubers to get nice and big and do a lot of work for us before we kill them off. So let's go up and have another look at this other paddock. Walk past my sister's haystacks. This is one of our dams, and we got it nearly empty this year. It was probably down to 10% or something like that. And yeah, it's not refilled very much yet. We've not had a lot of rain yet for winter. It's been a pretty dry autumn, compared to what our counterparts in New South Wales and Queensland and WA are going through, and South Australia, basically the whole of the mainland. Compared to what they're going through, we're in a very good position. We're actually thinking it's a bit too damp for certain things, like finishing off drilling and that. So certainly can't complain. We're really thinking of those people up there. It must be so difficult. So, land of extremes. We'll walk up here and have another look at this other paddock. As you know, if you've been watching my videos, I have been a conventional chemical farmer for quite a few years, and I'm trying to pursue a more regenerative, natural biological form of farming. So this has only been basically this calendar year I've started this journey. A lot of radical thought and practice changes. It's quite new to me, doing a lot of research, just trying to figure it out, and this is my first and no doubt not last failure. This was following my wheat crop. My plan was to sow lupins and radish and red clover in here, and combine the whole lot of it, and then separate out the lupins and the radish and the clover. They're three very different sizes. Separate it out and then sell the lupins for stock feed and have more cover crop seed. It has not worked for a number of reasons. First, we had cattle in here a few times when the lupins were just coming up and they did a bit of damage. Secondly, the wallabies have hammered the lupins, something shocking. And also, you would have seen the picture of the video of me drilling it with my homemade drill. Now the homemade drill, I built it to go behind the power harrow, so seed into sock ground. It works quite well for that. It does not work so well direct drilling. I used it this year and it worked pretty well in a few paddocks. Worked very well into the lucerne. It worked well into this paddock across here, and it worked very well into the paddock up that I showed you before, with the grazing crop. Did not work well into this paddock. There's a lot more straw, a lot more trash, and the ground was harder, so it had come out of spuds the year before, and I couldn't get the penetration, I couldn't get the uniform seed depth and coverage, and that led to a very patchy emergence of the lupins. The radish, not so much, it's come up pretty well. But yeah, we've just got a bit of a disaster on that front. So I can't graze it because cattle get lupinosis if they're on lupin. So I'm just going to let this grow, let the radish and the lupins and the weeds and whatever that comes up, a bit of wheat regrowth, so let that grow. And as long as there's no weed setting seed, it'll be fine. Just let it grow through to spring, and then I will terminate it and plant a spring crop. See, I was going to go, this wasn't my autumn crop, and that was going to be a spring crop. I'm going to shift it around, this will be a spring crop, and that'll be next autumn's crop over there. Now, I don't want to use herbicide to kill it off, and I don't know if a crimperola will be able to terminate it. I'll just have to see when we get to that point if it's going to work. Just depends what stage the wheat's at and what stage the radish is at, and many other can't think of my words. Anyway, so if I can't crimperola it, I will use a salt spray. I'm going to start experimenting with that. I don't want to use it too often because I don't want to create a salinity problem. Don't want to get that top layer of soil salty, because that'll not be good. The soil will benefit from a little bit of salt. Salt water has a lot of some sort of micronutrients in it, iodine, and this land is very low in iodine, so it would benefit a little bit from that. But I only plan to use a very small amount. Not sure what that amount is yet. I need to do some experiments. But if I do use it and it works, I'll plan to only use it no more than once a year, and probably only when I need to, and I've run out of other options, or I've made a management mistake and I've got a lot of weeds that I can't kill, or something like that. So I'll probably reserve it for those times when my other practices won't work and I don't want to use a herbicide. So it'll sort of be my last resort herbicide, non-selective obviously. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at there. Just have a bit of a look. Like the lupins that are here look quite healthy. The radish that are growing are doing quite well. Got a nice big taproot. The worm down in there. Getting a lot of worm cast here. That's a real improvement so far, because we this paddock was in potatoes last year, so it came out as potatoes in about this. Well, it was this time last year. Sort of a little bit later. It was towards the end of June they came out, and then I got the wheat drilled like later that week, within a week. So yeah, this was my winter wheat. That did pretty well. But yeah, when I had the wheat in, saw very little worm cast, very little soil function. The soil was shocking, wouldn't drain. It dried out quickly. But yeah, so this is really good to see. A lot of worm cast. If I look at the soil here and crumble it up, it's got some beautiful structure and it's nice and dry. So it's I think it's already mending. It's on its way back. Like that's pretty nice. Got a worm there. It's only a little one. So we've got a lot of nice trash here that's rocking down on the surface. The worms can use as food. Got a few slugs. So it's not a disaster. It's just a failure. It's just not going to have the function that I was hoping it would. But yeah, while ever something's growing and not adding to weed burden, that's a good thing. So that's that's this paddock, and we'll go over to the last paddock we have here, which is the other lucerne paddock with the radish in it, and we'll have a look at that. Well, I've run out of time. I'm not able to go over and have a look at that last lucerne paddock. Just got to go do something. So I'll just have to show you that a little bit later. Yeah, so it's basically looks like that second lucerne paddock we've looked at, except it's got radish growing in it, so not missing a lot there. Yeah, so there's a few things I'm thinking about at the moment. Obviously got to get more cattle, so I'll be talking to some stock agents this week, tomorrow, Monday. Got to sort my drill out. I need to. There's a few different options I'm thinking about. Modifying the drill, my homemade drill, to make it work better with its existing disc units, or keeping them to go behind the power harrow building a new toolbar with some specifically designed direct drill units, probably Baldwin or a Seraphim or John Deere or something like that, single disc or twin disc units, or get rid of the lot and get a purpose designed and built direct drill. I've been speaking with a farmer in New South Wales at Gunnedah. So hey, Farmer Roy, sorry I haven't got back to you yet. Thanks for your advice. Yeah, he's given me some advice on drilling and different drills and what probably the best way to go is. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure I'll go with a new toolbar with just proper design discs, and we'll go from there. So I need to get that sorted out before I drill any more crops, before I direct drill anymore. Yeah, so the cattle, sort my drill out, and yeah, just lots of learning and developing a better regenerative system. So now completely wet from walking through that grass, and yeah, so I'll hopefully get that up there tonight, and I'll talk to you again later. Thanks for watching. Stone in my boot. Never leave home without your sock guards.